Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Yeah. Sure.
Let's.
Why not? It's number 288. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. And it's, it's mid-January. What happens around this time? Football.
MLK Day.
Football wraps up. Oh, yeah, some people get a day off. You get a day off?
I've learned in the last 2 years to just say MLK Day. I've watched too many people get fired on TV for mispronouncing. Oh, should I bring up some clips? Because I'm not saying it.
What?
I'm not getting us canceled.
I don't. As opposed to, what would they say, his whole name? You say it's the safe route is to abbreviate it to MLK.
Yes.
What do they call him? Martin Luther Vandross?
He wishes. He wishes.
Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio, talking football with you on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So glad you've chosen to start your day and your week.
I skipped it. Is that's just your browser like stuttering? What the fuck was that? You never know these days if somebody's fucking around or your browser's fucking up.
A bunch of people got fired in the last 2 years for mispronouncing Martin Luther King, saying Martin Luther Coon King, like saying it accidentally.
They dropped a coon in the middle of it.
Yeah,
like they. How do you
like this guy would if let me. Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio, talking football with you on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
Okay.
So glad you've chosen to start your day and your week.
Several people have done that and gotten fired in the last couple years. So it's a really long way.
How is it
to explain to you that I've just learned to say we're going MLK from here on out. If there's a microphone in front of me, especially tomorrow, I got to be on the radio tomorrow. MLK, done.
And that's appropriate.
Not being disrespectful. I'm abbreviating.
Right.
Not diminishing the man's legacy, just abbreviating his name. Because everyone's crazy now.
What about milk? Can we call it Milk Day? That's what my ex used to call it.
Oh.
She's like, I got Milk Day off. Let's go hit the mall.
That sounds vaguely racist. Sounds like you're whitewashing it? Homogenized? That's what you did there? Because of milk?
Now I've planted the seed in your brain. You're going to say milk.
Great. Should I just cancel myself?
So aren't they wrapping up football?
Yes.
Are we going to get some kind of Super Bowl?
Yeah, Super Bowl is in a couple of weeks.
So why are they still talking about baseball then?
Oh, because a lot of people got caught cheating in baseball. And they're handing out the punishments.
Weren't they done? Haven't they wrapped up the baseball season?
Oh, baseball's been over since October.
So why now are they...
They discovered all this in the offseason, that a team was cheating.
Right. So I had heard that it was the Houston Astros, right?
Yes.
And they were banging trash cans to a certain code. A certain number of bangs would mean a certain type of ball was being thrown because they were decoding the other team's signals, right? How did nobody figure this out before?
Well, a lot of people, the thing is a lot of people apparently do this.
Bang on trash cans?
Well, it's stealing the other team's signs. Figuring out what the pitcher's going to be throwing.
That's my understanding, though, is that if you figure out the difference here, I think, is the actual communication with the guy at bat, right?
Yes, correct.
It's legal to steal the code. It's not legal to transmit code to your batter.
Yes.
So how do you not put, you would think that the pitcher or the opposing teams, whoever's sending the signals to the pitcher, would figure this out. Like, every time I throw a fastball, these guys are banging 3 times. Like,
well, no, because they can't hear that shit. They couldn't hear that shit.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was only from the dugout to the batter.
Yeah, it was somewhere where the people in the dugout could only hear it.
So the audience wouldn't have heard this noise.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just part of the calamity.
I get you.
Well, the rub is that year that that team won that year.
So is this there must be something specifically against this activity, though. Like, because they figure out loopholes like this in sport
I think
all
what
the
you
time.
said is,
and they either write it into the rules or they write it out of the rules.
well, I think you hit it on the head. I think the rub with it is that the new dynamic to this is the communicating with the batter.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Does that make a lot of sense? If you're allowed to communicate with your pitcher, and why shouldn't you be able to do the same thing with your batters? Although, how fun would the sport be if every guy knew what was coming?
Yeah. Then it just turns into a skills contest.
Well, it's not.
It
It
turns
doesn't.
into batting practice.
It's a different type of skill, right? You're focusing instead on probably just how you're connecting with the ball rather than your skills of watching the ball and seeing where and if it's going to break, right?
Yeah.
You're no longer relying on that skill now. But then isn't this what's interesting about sports rules is that it always has to like level up. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you know what's coming. Now there's going to be fake out signals coming from the opposing dugout. Mm-hmm. They're going to find ways around that. I mean, it's like code breaking with anything. Like, when you hear the stories about World War II, and just because your code got broken doesn't mean it's completely useless anymore, right? So now you have if you can, that period between your code getting broken and you plausibly not knowing that your code was broken allows you to now have a disinformation campaign.
Well, just because they're going to rub too is because competition's involved. You know, and there's this honor in the game as well that they are breaching by doing this.
I guess I see it a bit more as innovation, but if they're breaking specific rules, then I can't really take exception to how they're being treated, which is, I mean, what's the worst that could happen to a team? You know, they're not going to cancel a whole team. Like, there's somebody at the top.
Oh, they've already, they put a deal in place to where, and this is all allegedly, or maybe it's not allegedly, but it seems so far only management heads have been rolling. They said all players, you get immunity if you tell us if you talk.
But I mean, this is the Moneyball team, right? This is the team that put a team together by the numbers and proved that.
That was Oakland. Well, I mean, there's an element of Moneyball in all management now, really.
I thought the Astros was the template for that story.
The Oakland A's were.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but what's funny though is the season that they're accused of doing this, they just dominated. They were they were the best team in the league all year, and now we know why.
Right. I think they were doing this code throughout the whole season. Mm-hmm. Somebody would have had to have ratted them out.
Somebody did.
Yeah. So Dr. Oz wants to cancel breakfast.
What? Why?
I agree with him.
Does he hate the food?
Do you have breakfast every day?
When I travel, yes.
When you travel?
Because it's free.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And also you have time to just sit around and be in a food coma, right?
Not being a food, but not so much. It's more of I'm more of a 2-meal-a-day person, is more what I am.
Yes.
If I eat breakfast, I'm not eating lunch.
Yes. And Dr. Oz is talking about having, a breakfast every day, starting your day off with a full stomach. And I don't think a lot of people do that anymore. And it's all part of this food pyramid scheme, right?
The food Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I don't travel, I generally don't eat. I wake up, I get ready for work, I'm out the door with a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And I'll have a cup of coffee, and then I'll eat. My first meal of the day will generally be lunch. Now, I might grab a couple of pieces of candy out of the candy drawer at work, or go to the convenience store that is our lunchroom at our building, and maybe grab something there, maybe around late morning. But yeah, I'm not a
right. I don't think he's saying cancel breakfast foods. Breakfast foods are great. Pancakes, bacon, omelets. Yeah. But that's the thing. I'm with you.
Bacon is delicious.
It's about 2 meals. Mm-hmm. On the weekends, we have breakfast at my place, me and my kids, big breakfast, and it's usually served somewhere around 10 to 11 o'clock, late in the morning. We were up. Yeah, and it's a big meal, and there's we have snacks in between, but that's it, and then there's dinner. Right? There's no lunch when you eat a breakfast that big, that late.
Motherfucker!
Shit, are you yelling at the joint? Or Dr. Oz for canceling breakfast? I
should make my Lady a drop.
Because you had some simple carbohydrate like a potato chip or french fries at 10 at night means your body's insulin is all whacked up. By the next morning, that withdrawal is happening. You're starving like a drug addict. You got to get your meds.
I am trying this new thing, although I failed last night because wife's gone. I'm trying to not eat past like 6 or 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because getting old.
Because you're not, what are you doing after that point?
Nothing.
You're not, you're metabolizing possibly even less than at the time when you're sleeping.
I'm just trying to make dinner be it for the day, I guess is what I'm trying to do.
At least when you're sleeping, you somehow sweat or something, and your brain seems to be doing a lot of things. But a lot of that time is just like, just, what's the word? Just disconnecting, just, decompressing? What do they call it now?
I call it winding down.
Winding down.
Living it down.
Turning portions of your brain off. A soft booting. No, I don't know where I'm going with any of this.
Well, I think for me it's just your body's...
I'm winding down. This whole conversation is winding down.
This is my body's metabolization schedule. Is that a thing? Because I'm working like long ass days, but still I'm trying to make sure that I'm not eating past like 6 or 7.
You're burning the proverbial candle at both ends.
Yeah, it might be paying off soon.
At 3 ends, if you want to put a fine point on it.
That's true. Actually, yeah, I've created a third end.
Yeah. Is Tulsi Gabbard still in the race, or did she drop out?
I'm going to Des Moines next week. I'll let you know. Last time I saw any Tulsi signs, they were all in Des Moines.
Oh, Forbes, as of today, is reporting there's a 2020 presidential candidate. But I bring it up because there's been, so a lot of the Democrats have their stance on cannabis, but most of it is very positive. Bernie has been coming out stronger and stronger for not only legalization, but what's the word for it?
Decriminalization?
No, forgiving the crimes. Expunging records and whatnot.
Expungement.
Yes. Tulsi Gabbard's one up in them, though.
Oh. Was she going to give us weed?
No, okay. It doesn't get that good.
The freedom dividend, only with weed?
I'm sure Fox News is already reporting that, Bernie's going to have everyone on government weed.
It would be awful. We've gone over this. The government weed would be terrible. We don't want the government
moldy
weed.
And shit.
Especially when we were younger, we were like, oh, the government weed's probably great. Now that we're older, we're like, no, it'd be terrible. It'd be all brown. It probably wouldn't be weed.
Right, because you're thinking it's growing in like some super high-tech hydroponic system at Area 51.
Yeah.
And it's like they figured out how to grow the perfect plants.
Now that we're older and we've been to like the Social Security Administration, we've been to places like the DMV.
Yeah.
We're lucky if it's weed, for starters.
Oh, yeah. Last time I had to go to court for reasons we won't get into, but it was in Detroit, and I guess this was a temporary location, but this place was an old ass like 50s school, and nothing had changed since the 50s. The woman, what do they call it? The publicly appointed defender that we talked to, she wouldn't take the elevator. She's like, you could take the elevator. I'm going to take the stairs. She said,
oh, damn.
She gave me the verbal nod off the elevator, like the woman at the dispensary for you said, no,
she's like, hey, man,
you should really get this strain.
She's like, you take the elevator, I'm taking the stairs. I'm like, oh, person who works here every day is taking the stairs. Yes. I'm taking the stairs.
Noted. But yes, no, so what's Tulsi Gabbard saying anyway? She says, legalize and regulate narcotics so that you're no longer seeing tainted drugs on the street.
Oh, yeah, you're right. She is.
And involvement in the black market.
She's going full Netherlands.
She's going like full libertarian.
Yeah.
Going on to say the cost and the consequence to this failed war on drugs is so vast and far-reaching. So, yeah, we agree there. Socially and fiscally, absolutely. That if we take these necessary steps, we'll be able to solve a lot of problems that we're dealing with in this country.
And she challenged some dude to a push-up contest the other day and whooped his ass.
Yep.
Did you see that?
I heard about it. I didn't see it. But no, I've seen her.
Well, she's in the military.
She's posted her workout videos. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. She's in the military. Well, yes. If the guy that challenged her was not in the military, absolutely she whooped his ass.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't think America's ready for a female president that can whoop your ass.
It's a true story.
No, I know it's controversial to say that. That's the thing about the controversy, Bernie and Warren controversy, or did Bernie say it or not, he wasn't talking about who he'd vote for. He's talking about who other people would vote for, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Right? We can't talk about what other people we know historically will or won't vote for when we consider presidential candidates. All right.
No, we can't be honest anymore.
No.
We have to say we want honesty, but when it's in our face, we send it away.
And to that point, I mean, this is why this is a story, and maybe why she's saying this, so she can actually get a little bit of press time. Because,
hey, what's the press time?
This is a story because...
Dude debate in a bikini top.
It's the same thing with Marianne Wilson. Or is that her name? The lady they always talk about crystals and shit like that.
The dark force, the dark psychic force lady.
It's not Wilson. I called her Wilson. Williamson, thank you.
She ended I think last week, she officially ended her campaign.
Yeah. I heard she was on Penn Sunday School. They had her on for a full hour.
Oh, boy.
She's not a kook.
Really?
She's not a kook. I mean, unless she played a kook for an hour convincingly, which is possible. But this is Penn Sunday School. This is libertarian, atheist, say whatever comes to your mind on this podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
No judgment.
So I went, oh boy.
If you've got a free and open reign to talk about the wackiest shit that you want to, this is equivalent. If you're not familiar with this show, this would be an equivalent of, what's the MMA guy that has the big podcast and does acid and DMT and shit.
Oh, Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan. This is the equivalent of going on Joe Rogan show, right? People go on Joe Rogan show, they can talk about whatever the fuck they want. The craziest shit, they're not going to out crazy Joe Rogan. You're not going to out crazy Penn Jillette. She was very sane. She was very smart. She made a lot of sense. She didn't talk about crystals. She talked about actually all the stories that people have talked about her about whatever it was. It was all centered around painting her like she was fucking Stevie Nicks. She's the crazy hippie chick. Right? Don't give her the nuclear codes because she's going to look at her astrology chart to tell her whether she should push the button or not. And that was all propagated by the DNC. This wasn't the Republicans going after her. So anyway, totally got off on a rant. We were talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and part of why, that's what I'm saying, she doesn't really have a lot of cards to play left other than be more radical than the next person. And if you don't want to out liberal somebody, right? She's going for more of the centrist. Mm-hmm. Then you just got to dig deeper into that left side of libertarianism, which isn't a deep trench, and it's not going to get you elected.
No.
But I see, and I mean, maybe she honestly believes that, and I then appreciate her candor because I think it's a position that if you got any average politician, if you got them in a room and made sure that it wasn't bugged and assured them that nothing they said was leaving that place, they would go, absolutely, we should legalize all this shit. Prostitution, drugs, all the shit that we try and control, we try and pretend like we have control over it. And it's a losing battle. But you can't get elected on that kind of stuff.
No, you can't tell the truth.
Think what you want about Tulsi Gabbard. I'm kind of neutral on her, mostly because not only does she probably not have much of a chance, but whether it's knowingly or not, there seems to be a definite.
Well, she's a Russian agent anyway.
I was going to say it is the Russian thing, right? And she doesn't have to be a Russian agent. It's just the fact that Russia sees something in her that they like. So I'm kind of wary of that.
Have her do her debate in a bikini top. She's in the army. Still got the military body.
You're saying we're going to see Tulsi's abs before she drops out? How
far are we in American politics from adding a swimsuit round? 2-3 election cycles?
It's going to get down to 5 of them.
When's it going to just turn into American Idol just turns into American President?
Final debate before they actually have the final Democratic side debate, right? This is what it's going to be. 5 of them at a podium. Chris Matthews comes out with 4 spears, tosses them in the center, and they all charge forward. And there's no rules.
Last person standing wins.
Yes. And it's Tulsi Gabbard on top of a pile of bodies.
By the 15th debate, we're out of ideas. Yeah. Survivor president.
So an update on the vaping situation.
Another one?
Well, the CDC has amended their stance on the crisis.
Oh?
And in their recommendation of what to avoid, it specifically points to THC-related products. It is no longer saying that people should refrain from the use of any type of e-cigarette or vaping product, that they are focusing on the THC-containing products.
And we're both sitting here going, no shit! Just,
Hey, this is relatively fast for the government. You got to give them props. You know
how many family members I've had are like, oh my God, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. What flavor is that? It's delicious, is what it is.
Right. That's I'm fine. My doctor said I have popcorn lung when I told him, who doesn't like popcorn?
Yeah. And you know what, CDC? I live in Michigan where my vape card is tested. So I'm all good on that as well.
Mm-hmm. And they're specifically looking at the vitamin E acetate.
Yeah.
So
because they pulled them at Thanksgiving to make them all retest them for that shit.
When a part of the government acts sanely on an issue like that, give them some credit. Break off a little love for the CDC, why don't you? Like I said, this is relatively fast response time. I mean, in this day and age, right, of social media, it's always too late to get to the truth. The truth is whatever was first and flashiest.
Yeah.
So vape kills, makes sense. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, we're not unringing the panic bell.
And there's no world where you would want your government to respond on a hour by hour basis following Twitter and deciding what to do from there.
Oh God, no.
Right? You don't want them to be reactionary. So there has to be a period of, let's study this, let's break down what's happening, and let's not release information until we're very sure of it in order to not cause a panic. These are all things that CDC has to do, and I would assume that it is one of the better functioning in general parts of the government in just that we never have to talk about it. It just works, right?
Yeah.
Government is only interference in our life when it's working against our interest, or at least we believe so. Otherwise, when it's doing its job correctly, we don't even notice. And by the fact that we're not dying of crazy diseases, not whatever it is the CDC does, they're doing
working.
it right.
Yeah.
Yes, they're working. We're alive.
They're doing it, and they're doing it well.
Right.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
Yeah, like
LL
Cool
Cool J said. Those,
like Todd Smith.
and those are words to live by. That was, I'm trying to think, that was kind of on the precipice. I'm wondering, I can't remember if I had that on cassette or CD. What would it have been?
Yes.
What are the odds?
That was in that time. That
It was probably in that overlap where it was like
where it could have
released.
been both.
Yeah. And you would have owned both because you would probably have a CD player in your home, but a tape player in your car, because early versions of CD players didn't have the multi-sampling technology to basically have a buffer.
Like the 90s were definitely, it was both.
Because you can skip a CD. It's just not likely these days because there's like a 5-second buffer that it keeps. So if it does skip, it just pulls from the buffer.
Yeah.
Until it catches up again. So you never hear that skip. But before that technology, you couldn't put them in cars because it would just constantly be like...
Yeah. It's annoying as fuck. You have to get your CD players with skip protection. shock protection.
Yeah, but even the shock protection never really worked. You're talking about a laser reading ones and zeros off of a semi-reflective surface or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to, there's no other way other than, I don't know how it works, but I think it just actually spins faster than it needs to, just reads data and puts everything into a buffer. That's what you would eventually have in your car systems that were skip proof. But apparently the cassettes are making a comeback.
Why?
Well,
I get now from a making music aspect, I get why tape would make a comeback. Tape sounds much better than digital.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about for recording aspect.
But as far as listening, no.
Yeah, as far as the
why
playback.
Would you want to hiss? Why would you want to add in background noise on purpose?
Well, that's kind of what you're doing with tape, too, though.
Yeah, but in post-production, you can take that out.
Yeah, right. That's it. Who knows? Like, the process that music goes through these days is just all over the place, but there is a lot of recording to tape and then putting it into Pro Tools and then using tools to shape that and take out a lot of those hissy noises that you don't want it.
I'm fine with that.
Right. It all works, I guess, but it's just kind of ironic.
I'm fine with analog recording, but digital editing.
It's like
digital editing is.
It's like washing your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher.
Anyone who's did you ever have to edit with tape with the razor blade?
No.
I had to do it at Specs Howard.
Right.
I like I said, I'm fine with analog recording and digital editing.
I shouldn't say no completely.
Fuck that razor blade shit.
I have taken cassettes of music that I wanted to repair and tape them back together.
Rich once upon a time knew how to do that shit too.
Yeah,
Fuck that shit.
So I've done that shit. That I've done some, like, I guess you would call it.
You got to mark the tape, and then goddamn, fuck that.
Do guerrilla editing.
Yeah,
but that period right between the starting the long die off of the cassette and the rise of the CD was also the start of the disruption of how we listen to music.
It was, because also at the same time. The rise of the CD also brought us
track selection, like instant track selection.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear this.
And random.
Yeah.
Right, and programming. You could just not to mention what came soon after that, the ability to burn your own. So now you're just making mega mixes of like, here's all my big it
was all
workout tracks.
For streaming.
Right, because at the beginning of streaming, you had a relatively large file size because you didn't have the same types of good compression for MP3 files, and you also had slow upload and download speeds. So are you going to spend all day trying to get, Boyz II Men downloaded, or are you just going to grab on Wounded Knee and...
You mean Bended Knee? Isn't Wounded Knee like a battle?
Sorry. That's what we used to call that song.
No, dude, I remember, back in the day, I remember before I'd go to work, I'd queue up a couple CDs to download, and hopefully they'd be down by the time I got back from work 8 hours later.
Uh-oh. It's the statute of limitations on piracy.
Oh, no.
No, we all did it.
Oh, God.
Everybody. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't, I would buy music. I was spending so much money on music. Mm-hmm. I would use it to find demos of stuff that you couldn't get released. This was stuff that previously you would go to the independent store and they would be like $25, $30 for, somebody recorded off the board somebody's performance at a radio station and put that together with some live footage. And, you'd pay more for it than you would the actual album, but you'd want to hear it. And you're like, fuck, yeah. So this is basically replacing that, which to me is just piracy by taking out a middleman that's making a buttload of cash off of it. It's still piracy in the end, but we weren't actually lifting all the albums that we wanted to hear. The stuff that we really wanted to hear, we went out and bought.
Yeah, at that time, when that started, it's exactly what I was doing too. I was getting the hard to get stuff.
I was getting Jeff Buckley unreleased stuff, live Pixies.
Now then, 10 years later, when LimeWire showed up, it was totally just about digitizing what I already had. It turned into, fuck you, I already gave you my $20.
That's what
it turned into when LimeWire showed up.
There was a large portion of I had a heavily amount invested in cassettes and vinyl. but I also had an iPod.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. I want to listen to everything through this. Am I going to sit down and record each track from the vinyl, edit it, chop it up and title it, or can I just download it? I already own it. I bought the album.
Now, I did do that one time when me and a whole bunch of these guys that were in a band lived in a house together. And it was like 2007 or something like that. And one buddy, for some reason, he got a credit card and he bought his choice. He bought a computer, and had a huge hard drive. And we all just had crazy huge CD collections. So it was just one weekend. I just said, everyone put your CD books on the kitchen table. And I just sat there.
You just ripped everything.
For a whole fucking weekend. And I just ripped everybody's CDs into the computer. And then we had the ultimate music collection until a flood, like 5 years later at somebody's house. And that hard drive is dead now. Well, now we all have a streaming subscription, so who the fuck cares?
But, cassettes were supposed to be the death of the music industry when they came out, right?
Well, trust me, that's the thing I've been realizing getting back into radio here is having the realization of like, everything's supposed to have been killing everything.
Yeah.
Everything's supposed to have been killing everything. And
the only thing that ultimately kills media is people stop paying attention to it altogether.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you might suffer, you might lose audience, but radio as a medium is not going to go away because people still have radios everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's still going to be free too. That's going to be the thing that's still.
Yeah, but cassettes were the thing like, people can now just easily dub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was going to kill the music industry.
And we all did that back in the day. So, somebody got the new Iron Maiden and you would go and get your friend, you get on your bike and you'd ride over to his place, grab the Iron Maiden cassette, take it over to your other buddy who had the nice Dolby dual cassette deck, so you didn't have to patch up a bunch of shit. And he could rip it off, and it would do it in like double time too, right?
Oh yeah, the guys who had the high-speed dubbing?
Yeah, high-speed dubbing, man. Which you actually suffer a little bit in noise quality. Not noise quality. Your noise floor raises a little bit when you do that, but... But what the fuck? All you had to do was buy that Maxell,
Yep.
And then it was the math. Cassettes taught us about math.
Oh, for sure.
And fractions. And divvying up time. Because you were like, all right, I get a 90-minute, so that's 45 a side. So your average, you could fit an album on each side, right?
No, the way to do it is you got the 180s, man.
The 180s.
That's 3 hours, man.
Right, but then how do you break that up? Unless you're going to go like, I've got 3 Pixies albums that I all want to string together. Actually, you could fit all on 60 minutes.
Well,
what am I saying?
You could get like an album or 2 on one side of a 3-hour. You could get 3 to 4 albums on a 3-hour cassette.
Or you get like one album, the first half of a next album, the second half on the other side.
Yeah.
And the third.
Well, I'm saying on total.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's how because
But this is the other thing.
I walked to school. I had a paper route, so I had a lot of headphone time.
And cassettes were making us think about planning out time linearly, right? You can't shuffle that cassette. You want to put a bunch of music on it, but you can't just the best you had was auto skip. If you had a cassette deck.
Oh, my rich friends had the auto skip.
That would look for pauses, breaks in the music, and it would stop at them. And so you could just skip to the next track.
Those are my rich friends.
That was pretty hot. But you're still not going to, I don't know. You were listening, you're planning it out, so you were going to listen to this all together, all in one stretch.
Yeah. So the mixtape's dead, right? It's now a playlist? Do you think, do dudes still
I think that's part of why they're saying cassettes are coming back.
Do dudes in middle school, do you still, hey, I made you a playlist? Is that a thing now?
I bet you that's part of it too.
Or in high school?
Which I still did.
I made you a playlist.
Right. I remember I made a lot of cassettes.
I made mixtapes like a motherfucker. I had mixtapes made for me.
And then when CDs, the ability to burn your own CDs, I made plenty of those too.
Yeah. So now is it just like, hey, organize you a playlist? Probably, and then you just share it with them, right? You make sure that your crush is on Spotify, and then you share a playlist with them. Here, I made this for you.
Yeah.
But how do you attach a teddy bear and a balloon to a playlist?
Part of the giving of the cassette was...
Is there a spy cam in the teddy bear now?
I would always make my own J-cards for it, write out all the song info, cut some shit out of a magazine or get some weird paper or something. We even gone so far as to decorate the case, the tape itself.
Yeah, that was because that was how you personalized.
Yeah.
Was the card.
Yeah, that's the bigger thing that you're missing from the playlist. Like putting together a Spotify playlist probably takes you less time than it takes to listen to one of the songs.
Right.
You're just like click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Back in the day, you had to actually record in real time.
Read today,
each song.
some time and effort went into making a mixtape for somebody. Even burning a CD.
And hitting the pause on the record right at the right time.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't, unless you actually had some kind of mixing technology.
There was an
most
art
of
to it.
You had dubbing, but you couldn't like fade
Most
from
of us
one to the
had
other.
dual cassette deck. That's all we had.
Right. So you had to pause it and leave that right amount of gap. And if you didn't hit it right away, then you wanted to back up and find that spot again.
Did any of your mixtapes ever have this song on it?
Oh gosh, no.
Me neither. This just seems though like for just our age group, this seems like this was probably just heavy mixtape material.
Well, yeah, I mean, the amount of bad mixtapes out there.
Yeah. I can tell you it was on some of your mixtapes because definitely on some of mine.
Probably some Cure. I don't know if it would have been this one. Here's the thing.
You make Cure mixtape from one of your friends? Hey, I'm trying to get you into the Cure.
Yeah.
Here's the Cure that you should start with.
But even then, I was too snobby to do that.
Oh, wow.
If I'm going to put Cure on the mixtape,
right.
It's not going to be something that was ever a single.
Okay, then I know where your head's at.
I'm going to go for an obscure B-side to show just how hip I am. Only if the song would have to be especially poignant. Maybe some sort of in-joke between me and the receiver of the mixtape, or I thought it had special meaning if it was actually a song that like charted or they made a video for or something like that. That's it. ANX used to play out this shit all the time. This would still be.
Oh, this is wow.
This is one of the.
You heard it on the radio.
Hits. Yeah.
Oh, this is a hit.
Yeah. This is a single. It would be rare for me to put a single on there. I'd go for a deep cut. I'd want. Well, that's a lot of this too is. I wasn't trying to introduce somebody to a world of music. I was probably usually dating somebody with musical tastes that were similar to my own. So it was like, hey, we both like Sloan, but have you heard this track? This song is an odd one. Like, I remember not being a particular favorite of mine. I thought it was kind of an odd. I was like,
you could tell what part of the 80s this is from just by the drums.
Well, they're doing a bit of like.
This is 88, 89.
It's a little disco, it's a little funk, but we're doing this in 89. Yeah, totally. Like, this would be like 87, 88, maybe.
It's late 8, just the drums.
Yeah.
This is Don was in his heyday.
Actually, seeing the video for this made me kind of appreciate it a little bit more. But this is one of the songs when I listen to this album now is a standout for me. This song is fucking great. Robert Smith is howling and whining at his finest. It's funky as fuck. It's catchy. It's a stupid song, and that's fine. Like, I know that Cure got a lot of notice, certainly, for like Disintegration, which is a somber, fucking dark album. But since then, and prior to that, they've done such a wide variety of work, and some of it is just catchy, funny, silly rock songs, and they're not bad. What Never Enough was, remember that one? So this is getting into like the early 90s when everyone's doing the big, heavy, like drum loop type of production. You know, everyone's doing the Enigma beat or the Buffalo Stance beat under their guitars. And then, you get some of those like 9 Inch Nail style industrial type of guitar riffs.
Oh, wow.
You never heard this one?
No.
mean, it's kind of a dumb song, but I love it. It's a great driving song. I think
I'm surprised you recommend this as a single.
What's that? Oh yeah, this was a single in a pure fact of it never got put on an album. There's a remix version on the Mixed Up. But yeah, honestly, I was so hip up my own ass, I probably wouldn't have even put Cure. Cure's too mainstream. You know?
Oh.
Like, Cure, fuck Cure, Catherine Wheel, bitch.
Oh, okay. Dude, you know, I dated someone who's really into Catherine Wheel.
Oh, yeah.
I probably know a lot more Catherine Wheel than the average person.
I've been dipping back into some of that 90s, both the shoegaze and a little bit of there's the shoegaze and there was the big kind of Manchester scene production with the big beats, the techno influence from the rave scene. So, and some of the bands that overlapped in that too, like Curve, that had a lot of the techno elements and a lot of the shoegaze guitar elements.
What I find too is this song right here, this is like their big hit single. This song is misleading. Because this song is not how they generally sound. But this was their big radio hit.
Really, this was?
Yeah.
Wow.
But like, if you're expecting them to sound like this, the rest of their catalog, no.
Yeah, I guess I'm more like first two albums with this band. They kind of lost me. There's some good stuff that happens after that, but it does go in this weird direction like this, where they sound a little more like Filter. They're like gay Filter, which is, come to think of it, pretty gay.
Gay! Well, to me, this seems like they came out with this song came out when grunge was like at its height. They were just trying to capitalize every band to make it sound like a grunge band.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I think the alternative stations were still playing more, Black Metallic, Crank, and I Want to Touch You.
Yeah.
I forget, this song's like 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it is.
The full version. It's a bit much. But this is a really good album.
It is. Man, I haven't heard this shit in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Take me back. Last time I heard that, I lived in Kalamazoo. Probably last time I heard that song. My ex-girlfriend, she ended up getting doing some radio shows on the college radio station in Kalamazoo, and they got to feature an artist, and she did one on Catherine Wheel, and it was one of her favorite bands. I recorded over it. She was so pissed.
Oh no!
Yeah,
you recorded over it.
Well, she used one of my tapes for work, and I needed a tape. We didn't last long after that.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
So, cannabis.
You know, weed.
What's happening with the federal government during all this, all the nonsense? Is any of this cannabis stuff getting through? Slowly but surely, it seems to be. Recently, the Health Subcommittee of the U.S. House Committee on Energy and Commerce got together.
They had a great time, and everybody went home.
Yeah, who knows what really happened? I mean, they discussed the implications for what legalization would look like. That's about. There are no votes taken. I guess that's the news. But they are talking about it. They spent 3.5 hours in a room with each other, smelling each other's farts and eating bagels, and discussing what cannabis would look like and what their next step should be. According to CNN Business, provided windows into legislature's temperatures on cannabis legalization and the actions undertaken to date by a trio of government agencies wielding significant influence over how cannabis is researched, possessed, and consumed.
What are they gauging the interest?
And I guess this is all in the name of a program called Cannabis Policies for the New Decade.
I mean, it's a start, right? It's a step in the right direction. The fact that they're getting in the room and going, oh, all right, so let's say we actually did this. How could we do this? What would it look like? I guess it's got to happen at some point, right? I think it's encouraging that it's happening under a Republican president, too.
Yeah, some like the CDC. Let's extend them a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
They're working on it. I know they're really behind when it comes to this issue. But then even those states like our own in Michigan that have legalized it, some of us are still behind.
It's a mess over here.
It is a mess, isn't it?
I'm glad I got my card. I might renew it again. I figured this was going to be the last card I'd have to renew. I probably might renew it one more time to give them another couple years, because I'm up in like October. I might do it one more time just to give them let's give you another couple years to figure out this rec thing.
It was a news story this week that they opened the first legal dispensary for recreational on the west side of the state.
Oh, where at?
I forget where. It was probably somewhere around Grand Rapids area, somewhere in there. But yeah, can we get more than 3 dispensaries for the Metro Detroit area, though?
Yeah.
That would be nice.
And for us, for me, they're like an hour away. For you, they're like, what, 40 or half hour?
Yeah, probably.
You are from Ann Arbor?
Right, but half hour away to buy stuff that's overpriced.
Yeah.
And
comes out to, I believe they said $400 an ounce.
I'm not going to say where I get mine from, but I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
I know exactly where it comes from. So, yeah, why would I, pay more, get stuff that I don't know where it's coming from, be inconvenienced? And that's the thing, ultimately. It's only going to, once it's more of a convenience to go to the dispensary than to buy it from somebody you know. That's the only way it's going to change. Illinois is a little bit ahead of us.
Well, except for me right now with the card, that convenience exists.
Right. And they got off to a better start with millions and millions of dollars of sales on their opening weekend.
Do they got more weed yet?
No. That they're probably looking at a year before they are fully restocked for the retail cannabis market.
Damn!
Yeah. So I don't know what that means for Michigan, and that's the thing. Because everything's insular, everything's by state, right? All of these states are selling product that they're producing in their own state.
There's no federal. We need a federal standard.
There's no legal traffic over the border, so you can't go. Oregon's got a surplus. You can't just ship to Illinois and Michigan.
We got to think. There's got to be a threshold for the federal government's got to be. Maybe that's why this committee's meeting. There's got to be a threshold where they figure we get to this threshold, there's no going back. Because we're already at 1 in 5 states, right? We're at 20% of the country is now at full recreational legalization.
Okay. You're getting ahead of me a little bit, and we'll bounce around a little bit. I'll try and remind me to come back to Michigan, because one of the studies that I'm sure they're probably looking at in Congress when they're discussing this issue in Oregon, they're noticing that certain dispensaries, businesses up 420%, which is a funny number, and they could have just said 400%, and nobody would have questioned that number, but congratulations on the headline.
Yeah.
420% stronger in certain locations. Guess where those Oregonian locations of legal dispensaries are?
Near borders?
On the border of Idaho.
Oh, so shocking.
That has to be a factor. First of all, here's why it gets the federal government's attention. Commerce over a border that the government isn't involved in?
What?
No. That shall not happen.
Daddy's got to get paid.
Yes. So, essentially, Idahoans they found the loophole.
What a loophole. You get in your car and drive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're technically, they have to bring that back into their own state that doesn't have programs, so they are breaking the law.
Yeah, but
it's not a loophole.
Yeah, but it's not like going from Mexico to Canada where there's someone at the border going, hey, what are you doing?
Absolutely. They're purchasing it legally. Well, we would assume mostly. Although I'm sure there's a lot of people on the borders who are just muling this shit where they're...
Well, I used to all the time. For work, I used to go there. And at Spokane. I go back and forth between Spokane, Washington, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho all the time.
Yep.
There's
a lot of, and those places are increasing all over the place, all over the U.S. That's part of the great thing about.
I bet you dispensaries in Monroe
the way that legalization has been allowed to sprout across the nation, it's not like it's all coming from one place. It's not like California legalizes and then all the states around slowly succumb. Yeah. It's allowed to sprout up here and there and seep out. Mm-hmm. And yes, is it going to be a problem for neighboring states? Yeah, but it's only a problem because they are holding on to something that's never going to be true again, right? The whole rest of the nation is going forward with legalization. Mm-hmm. It's the majority, no matter how you slice it. Of all the things that we are divided about, it's not really marijuana anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we as the group have decided we like pot.
And getting back to Michigan, though, we have legalization in Michigan, but we just don't have anything to buy. So it's like meaningless. And before we can even get the shelves properly stocked, there's, of course, there's still a lot of people. They're not the majority, obviously, but a lot of people who are against this.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And the new anti-marijuana campaign that popped up recently, well, I may not agree with their portrayal or their basic idea. Well, I guess I don't. It's not their basic idea because I don't think teens should smoke pot. That's it. I know that, you had, I haven't. I don't think that it's like detrimental. I don't think it ruins somebody's life, but is it a good idea? Am I going to recommend it? Absolutely not. You got other shit going on. You should be figuring out other shit, not how to get high not how to smoke pot through an apple. Save that for college. College is fine for that.
Now, is it going to happen? Yes.
Yes, it's fine.
Does it think it should happen? No.
Does it ruin your life if it happens? I mean...
Depends.
I think in the cases where you see it actually ruining lives, you're talking about pot more as your proverbial gateway drug.
Well, I think, too, it's right? Just alerting
pot
some
as
people.
Indicative of general rebellious behavior of seeking to, just get drunk, smoke pot, maybe do other things, get into other trouble.
It's just alerting some people earlier on in their lives than others that they have poor impulse control.
Right. They've got their ad campaign, which the commercials are always great.
This is our brain on drugs.
Yeah.
A new anti-marijuana ad campaign backed by the state of Michigan is drawing controversy tonight. Marijuana advocates are upset and feel the state is using scare tactics in the ads. Coco McAvoy talked with both sides tonight.
Yeah, they're supposed to, the whole point of the ad is to scare you off of a certain behavior.
You ever seen a government anti-drug ad?
All across Metro
Well,
Detroit.
anti-anything, like look before you cross the street, don't smoke cigarettes, don't get into a stranger's car.
While their brains are still developing.
That's the whole idea, is let's scare these people into not doing dangerous behavior. But here we go, the actual ad.
I'm you in 10 years.
It's a newer state ad campaign that's
big fat dude wearing the same clothes.
Some marijuana advocates.
Even if we could see this as a problem, we wouldn't be able to focus long enough to get out of the problem.
The ad is supposed to show what a teen would look like in 10 years if they use marijuana consistently. But some people believe it sends a bad message about body image.
Why don't you just play the fucking commercial? I thought it was just going to be the commercial.
Oh, because he's fat? Is that really what this is about?
Yeah, it just shows a normal-looking dude he's getting high and watching TV on the couch. And then the future self appears who's overweight and wearing the same clothes and being like, we did this for 10 years.
But Schneider believes the ad should target...
I mean, I don't know. Plenty of people do that and just coast through their 20s and don't do shit anyway, regardless of smoking pot, right? And plenty of people also smoke pot and go to college and smoke pot and get real jobs.
Yeah.
And continue to smoke pot and be successful.
Protect our youth, but this is just not the way to go about doing it, and it was done in very poor taste.
Now Schneider and other advocates are calling for state leaders.
I'm surprised that they weren't just mad because it was fat shaming. Like, oh, because you're overweight, you're unsuccessful.
And the ads are scheduled to run through April. Reporting live this evening, I'm Coco McAvoy, local.
Coco McAvoy, that's a great name.
McAvoy with a B.
Oh, McAvoy? Oh, shit. Coco McAvoy. That's like, if that name popped up on a movie, you'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
All right. We got to wrap up, huh? Okay, one more, and then we're out. I'm going to start loading the outro. In Waukesha, Wisconsin, a 26-year-old man is accused of selling drugs that were mixed with his mother's ashes. He sold them, right? It's one thing to smoke your dead relatives, but to put it in with drugs and then sell it to other people, he has no explanation. Investigators said they received a tip. This is according to WQAD, Channel 8 News. They received a tip about Schroeder and his girlfriend selling drugs out of their apartment. According to the criminal complaint, twice last week, investors sent an informant to the apartment. My God, you're doing a sting on this guy. Like, what is going on out in fucking Washka buttfuck, Wisconsin?
Not much. So I did a sting on this guy.
What kind of drugs do they think that what kind of drugs could you mix up with your mother's ashes?
I don't know. Some crazy shit.
And investigators said they found 70 grams of marijuana. Well, that's out. You're not going to put ashes in with marijuana, and you can't cut marijuana with ashes.
So almost 3 ounces of pod.
A small amount of MDMA. So it probably wasn't even selling that. That was just for him and his girl. Bongs and a drug scale. So none of this adds up to like anything you could mix up ashes with and do anything with. According to the complaint, Schroeder tried to explain the large amount of unknown powder and vegetable material located in the apartment, saying he mixed these substances for a variety of reasons.
Oh boy.
He said his mom died a little more than a year ago, and according to the complaint, Schroeder indicates he took some of her ashes and mixed them with a variety of substances, which he ultimately ingested. Oh, so he didn't sell it. He was doing it himself. So this guy is just like, like Perry Farrell, just a freak, right?
Or he's making some crazy shit and he came up with an elaborate lie that the cop...
He snorted his mother's ashes.
Or it's an elaborate lie and the cops bought it. Oh, yeah, it's my mom's ashes. It's crazy.
Right.
No, it's not coke. That's my mom's ashes.
Complaint doesn't indicate if he mixed the cremated remains in any of the drugs he's accused of selling. Oh, so that's why you went ahead with the headline... Man tells police he mixed his mom's cremated remains with marijuana. Oh, no, wait. They say it in the first line of it. A 26-year-old man is accused of selling drugs that were mixed with his mother's ashes. That's how they start off the story. Down in the middle of the story, they say at no point in the complaint does it say that he admits to selling drugs that were mixed with his mother's ashes. You ever seen, what was the movie that Perry Farrell did, from... Of course, from Jane's Addiction, Porno for Pyros. He did the Gift. Have you seen that movie?
Sounds familiar. Not sure.
In this movie, he plays himself, and his girlfriend plays herself. And in the movie, the girlfriend fictionally dies of a heroin overdose. And he spends the rest of the movie as like trying to figure out how to say goodbye to her, which involves hanging onto her body and laying a lot of flowers on it and then having sex with it.
Yeah. All right. It's only movie appearance, huh?
Perry Farrell made a movie about fucking his dead girlfriend while she was still alive. She played the dead girlfriend.
It's probably one of the most Perry Farrell things you can do. Wow.
Like just when you thought that probably, imagine what it would be like dating Perry Farrell. First of all, like you probably heard it all, right? Perry Farrell's like, you know what I want to do? I want you to act like you're dead. And she's like, yeah, okay, it's a Tuesday, no problem. Yeah, you're gonna act like you overdosed, right? And you're dead, your heart stopped, and you're gonna be laying on the bed, and I'm gonna fuck you. Yeah, okay, I can deal with that. First of all, it's easier job for me, right? I don't have to do anything. Yeah, right. And then we can film it. All right. That's, everyone likes filming that, So he wants to fuck me like I'm a dead person. He wants to film it. And we're going to release it on VHS. Wait a minute.
And possible small movie theaters.
What? Oh, yeah. And I'm playing like art house films, film theaters and stuff like that. That would be like, all right, finally. You've crossed the line.
Yeah.
But apparently, I think, he managed to talk her into it. Or maybe it was her idea. Who knows? pit. I remember seeing Porno for Pyros, and I tell you the story about I passed out at one of their shows.
Yes.
It was that fucking clown. They brought the clown out.
That's it.
And the clown started cutting his face. The clown takes off his makeup. That's it. They're performing a song, and a clown comes out and sits down at a vanity on one side of the stage. And during the song, the clown takes his makeup off. And halfway through the song, when they get to kind of the crescendo of the song, he's done taking his makeup off, and he starts then cutting his face, and all this fake blood is running down his face.
That's it for you?
And it was an outdoor venue, middle of summer. I was hot. I was sweaty. There was mosh pits. There was just a lot of activity, maybe a little bit of drugs. And I saw that and just out. Wake up to some girl with dreadlocks, some white girl with dreadlocks nursing me with a Diet Coke. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I really like, Jane's Addiction is great. Great band. Mm-hmm. This Porno for Pyro shit stands up, though. Like, I think this is a better album than the shit that he did with Jane's Addiction, even when they got back together. I mean, it's more out there, but, it's more interesting, too. They take more chances. They're experimenting with different styles of music. And I kind of appreciate the fact that, like, he wanted to do something different, right? Not a lot of guys, their band kind of blows up on them, and then they go on with like, I'm doing this new thing now, and you're like, yeah, doesn't it kind of sound like the old thing? So you're just trying to recreate the old thing, right? Or like, why does Mick Jagger do a fucking solo album ever, right?
Yeah. I guess because. Well, consider in Mick Jagger's case, he does a solo album with most of the people he's in the same band with.
Right.
It's not a solo album. It's like Keith. It's like a Stones album, and Keith took the album off, so you can't call it Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
But everyone else.
Keith Richards, he's done solo stuff, but it's a little bit different. It's a little more of older blues stuff. It does have kind of a different feel than what he does with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Big show today.
I was rambling a bit. I think, some of this might get edited out. Who knows?
Action-packed. Hey, we are on Twitter at the Weezen420, on Instagram at the Weezen Podcast. Should probably activate our emails again, huh? When I switched over to the new website. Get on that tomorrow.
Activate your emails.
All of our old email addresses are with the old server. I did transfer them over to the new website, the new company. So, well, we have social media. People want to get a hold. Oh, man. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, all of a sudden Stitcher coming out of nowhere. Stitcher, all of a sudden, a significant source of downloads. Not arguing with it. Maybe they've changed the way they do things over there.
Or maybe
we're just more popular than we've been. Who knows? Maybe low column A, low column B. I'll take either.
Whatever's happening, thank you.
Yes.
Maybe it's just word of mouth, which is an important way to spread the word.
Yep. If you like it, tell somebody. That's how it works. There is an Amazon banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Also a PayPal button. Rate us. Ratings help. Reviews help. People are trying to get into the show.
Grade us.
Yeah.
Tell us we're good.
Yes, please validate us. And stay high.
Like Lisa when school's out.
Oh, yeah.
Please, grade me. Stay high.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you look around, you'll see the world can be pretty smart. Okay, very smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. That's why we're reshaping online learning with our FlexPath format. You can set your own deadlines, take classes at your own pace, even leverage your previous experience to move faster. So when it comes to earning your bachelor's degree, you know what kind of choice to make. A smart one. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.